Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for being here. Amira, I'm turning it over to you to get us started.
Okay, perfect. Well, first off, good afternoon to everyone, and welcome to the Inclusive Excellence Education and Development Hub, or we are also known as the Hub. We are pleased to have you join us virtually to celebrate Yalla Eats for Arab American Heritage Month. So my name is Amira Bwaza. I'm one of the programming graduate assistants here at the Hub. And as we start this program, I do ask a few things of you. I kindly ask that if you have any questions, please let me know. I'm here to answer all of them. And if you don't want to, of course, like unmute yourself, you can always post it in the chat and I will reply as fast as I can. And we are going to do a cooking show / lesson on a popular Arab salad called charmoula. I know that in Libya we call it charmoula, but I know in other Arab countries, especially Muslim countries, they call it different names. So this is for students, staff, and faculty, alumni, community members to come together and learn just about my culture and how to cook a really good salad. So Yalla actually means let's go in Arabic. It's also, I think, a Hebrew or Yiddish word, if I'm not mistaken, but I'm not sure the meaning. So it does have Arabic roots. And so as an Arab American myself, I wanted to come on here and show you my culture. And I think we all know that culture is very closely tied to our food and like what we eat and cook every day. So I think this is a great event for us to start off Arab American Heritage Month. I do want to start off if anyone watching this later on our YouTube is Muslim, Eid Mubarak in the future. So this is a Muslim holy month. So today is the third day. This is 2022, so it's the third day of Ramadan, which means that all the Muslims who partake in fasting will not eat or drink anything from dawn until sunset. Now, a lot of you will not know what Ramadan means or why we do such a thing. Well, Ramadan teaches us to practice self-discipline, self-control, sacrifice, and empathy for those who are less fortunate than us. And of course, encouraging actions of generosity and compulsory charity, which is known as zakat. It's kind of like brownie points. So if you do something good, you are earning zakat. And then I also wanted to touch on that Muslims do this to help instill compassion for those who are food insecure. So during the month of Ramadan, although we're fasting and praying, we are also going to homeless shelters and making food for them. And that is just something that a lot of Muslims do during this month and of course during the year. So without further ado, I'm gonna start cooking. Okay, so our recipe calls for 5 Persian cucumbers. So a Persian cucumber is kind of like an American cucumber, although it is sweeter just a little bit, and they're much smaller compared to the American cucumber. So I have 6 here today, but 5 is fine, however many you're feeling in your salad. And also this salad, I prefer them cut smaller pieces, but if you prefer a chunkier salad, then you can go ahead and cut them, of course, in bigger sections. So you want to cut off the ends. There we go. So you want to cut off the ends, and then you go down the middle. So it's in half now, but keep it on the cucumber, and then another half. So that way it's in 4 little quadrants. And then you just cut them small like this. And you just go ahead and do that for all those. I will mention that cucumbers, especially Persian cucumbers, are highly used in a lot of Arab meals, especially as a child who grew up in Libya. My dad always talked about having snacks as Persian cucumbers, and they would put hot sauce on them, or they would pickle them. And although in American pickling, it usually makes them sweet or kind of tart like pickles, it will make them more spicy actually. And they actually put them in water to make a cucumber refreshing, like spicy drink, kind of like a virgin spicy margarita. And now we're going to put those in our bowl. Go into the next. Another thing about the salad is, and almost all Arab food, a lot of it contains cilantro. And you will see that I do not have cilantro on our ingredient list because I actually have a genetic marker for having cilantro taste like soap. So to me, I will eat it with all my family's meals, but it does taste like soap to me, so that's why I'm not making it now. But it is a great ingredient to add to all your Arab cooking endeavors. So moving on to our next ingredient, we're going to go ahead and talk about the tomatoes, which tomatoes are a huge part of Arab culture because at least in Libya, we were actually colonized by the Romans. So a lot of our food is very Italian. And so you can use Roma tomatoes, but I do recommend tomatoes on the vine. So they'll come like this in a little bag. They're already prepackaged, which is nice. And I already washed these. And so you just take them off the vine. The reason why I recommend these over Roma tomatoes is actually because they have a sweeter taste. So I keep saying that all these fruits have a sweeter taste. That doesn't mean that the salad is going to taste like cotton candy, of course, but it will have like summer salad type of taste instead of being a more Roma tomatoes are used primarily for cooking pasta sauces, so they will be more heartier than sweet. So I want to cut out the white part, which is the core, and then just slice them down. Tomatoes are kind of hard to cut, but I actually found that if you use a tomato knife, it makes it much easier. And the inside part of the tomato, we want to get rid of that because we're already going to add liquid to our salad at the end, so we don't want it to be too watery. That's something that sometimes gets thrown in, and then you wonder, why does my salad look like soup? Just take out the tomato cores. All right. So we get those in there. Another thing I want to mention is that this salad would be used for just a snack for lunch, or it will be used kind of like an appetizer for dinners, especially iftar dinner. So iftar means the meal where you break your fast. So that will be dinner for us as fasting Muslims. And so at first, when you break your fast, we eat dates, which I have in my fridge, and you eat those with water to try and rehydrate yourself after a long day of fasting. And then you will have sharmula or another type of salad to go ahead and kind of soften your palate before you go ahead and eat like this huge hearty meal after not eating anything all day. Right. growing up in Libya, my dad always told me that fruits and vegetables were his type of snack. They didn't have Little Debbie's or anything like that. Especially, I want to make sure I educate you all on the fact that I am only speaking on behalf of my experience. So as a Libyan American, I know a lot of other cultures make this same dish, but they call it something different, and that's okay. I just want to make sure that I am prefacing this with that I only know about Libyan culture. All right, now that we got the tomatoes mixed in with the cucumbers, see? Okay, now we're gonna move on to the red onion. So you can also use yellow onion if you would like, but in Libyan culture, we love red onion because it grows so well in Libya. So I'm just gonna use a small one. I did put a whole red onion, I think, on the, no, actually I put a half a red onion on the recipe card, but I did want to mention, like, if it's a really small red onion and you like red onion, then go ahead and put as much as you want. This salad is so great because you can just customize it. If you prefer way more tomatoes over cucumbers, then just add more tomatoes. That's why I love Arab food so much. It is so healthy for you because it's mostly just vegetables and fruit. Just gonna toss that in our bowl. All right. It is a lot of chopping, so I'm sorry if it's getting very repetitive, but I wanted to show you all how I cut the ingredients, because sometimes when you look at a recipe, you see all the ingredients, but you don't understand how it turned up looking like that. So I just wanted to show you all how I like to cut up my vegetables to put in my sharmula. And you can, if you prefer just using the inside of the red onion, that's all right too. I know a lot of Libyans prefer just the most inner part, or they actually use shallots, but I didn't get those today. Right. Red onions, I have found, make me cry less than yellow onions, so I think that's why I use them more, actually. Even though it is more used in my culture, I prefer not crying while I'm cutting vegetables. I know most people feel the same way. All right. I'm gonna throw away these bigger pieces that have a lot of the skin on them, because nobody wants to eat a salad with tons of onion skin on it. All right. And then now I will be adding to our bowl. We have everything mixed, and I have a spoon here to mix it all together. So this is a small portion. This is what I would bring, like, for a single person to use. I will probably make more for when I can eat, which is I think like 7 something today when iftar is. I would recommend using minced garlic, and especially when it is minced with olive oil, it's a great stabilizer to keep the garlic fresh. That's just a quick tip. Where's my spoon? Here it is. Okay, so I will go in and get about that much, a little less than a teaspoon. Put that in and make sure to mix it pretty well in your salad. That way it has some garlic taste, but not too garlicky. Nobody wants to taste too much like garlic at work when you're eating lunch. And then I'm gonna go in with olive oil. I recommend getting an olive oil with the when the bottle is darker, because when the bottle is clear, it actually makes the olive oil go bad quicker. Olive oil is like the holiness of Arab culture. It is used for everything. It's used for ailments. If you have a stuffy nose, they put olive oil on you. They make you eat olive oil when you're sick, even when you're not sick. It's just a cure-all in at least Libyan culture. And then this is my favorite part of charmoula. It's balsamic vinegar. This I would also recommend getting in a darker bottle so that way it stabilizes the liquid inside. So that way you can keep it in your pantry and fridge longer without having to worry about it going bad next time you make charmoula. Now this, you can use just a smidge, but I use like a pretty good amount, just like a couple splashes. This will make the salad darker, so don't be scared about that. It's just going to be adding more flavor. Now you want to go ahead and mix that pretty well. And the great thing about charmoula, especially during Ramadan, it is very quick and easy to make, as you can see, and also it marinates great. So when I can make this right now and then keep it in the fridge covered, and it will be even better tasting when it's time to eat. So the next thing I like to add is lemon. So this is a small lemon. Sometimes I use a bigger one, whatever I have on hand. And we're going to go ahead and cut this in half. And the best thing to do before you cut a lemon is roll it out like this. So that way the juices come a little looser, and that way it's not so hard to cut or to squeeze. So you can either squeeze it by hand or with a lemon squeezer. So I'm just going to go ahead and go in by hand. There we go. So that's one half. And then we're actually going to do the full lemon, extra citrus flavor. All right, now we're gonna mix that again. I just try and mix it all after every ingredient I use, so that way it gets the vegetables get a full covering of the liquid. Now you'll see there's a little bit of pooling of liquid at the bottom, but that's okay because if you let this marinate, the vegetables will soak it up and it will be flavoring for it. And then the last thing I do with charmoula, I usually do this right before I'm about to serve, but sometimes I'll put it in to marinate. It's a little bit of feta cheese. So this is goat cheese. In Libya, my dad his family owns a farm in Libya in Hamas near Tripoli, which is the capital. And they actually have a farm where their goats are used to make feta. It's kind of crumbly, which is kind of fun. And I just take a small little handful and kind of go over it all. Kind of break up a few of the big chunks. And it just depends, like loves extra feta and I just like a little bit. It all depends on your taste. But all of these things you can get at your local grocery store. The best part about the salad is that you don't have to go to an international market or anything like that to try and get the ingredients. They have Persian cucumbers at Aldi and Walmart and all other grocery stores, so it's super easy. You don't have to find a new grocery store just to make this yummy treat. So I'm just gonna mix it together, keep some of the feta on top. Sorry for all the phone noises. And then you have charmoula. So it's just a mix of tomatoes, Persian cucumbers, red onion, and some yummy, yummy oils and dressings to make it all come together. Does anyone have any questions? Oh, sorry, I didn't see the chat for a minute. Oh, awesome. Oh, I love shallots too. They're super good. Well, if no one else has any questions, I just wanted to say, yes, the recipe is written down. I will drop that in the chat. Let me go wash my hands really quick. All right, I will drop that in the chat so that everyone has access to the recipe. Sorry, I'm trying to find out how I put a Word document. Oh, you do, Charlotte? Thank you, Charlotte. You always save the day. Yep, but that's the recipe and the instructions. So if you don't want to watch my pretty face do this all over again, everything is written out on that Word document. And if no one else has any questions, I want to say thank you to everyone that showed up and watched me cook today. And also, I want to say a big thank you to the Hub for letting me share my culture. And I am so excited that we are celebrating Arab American Heritage Month this April, as well as AAPI and Jewish, and we are celebrating Diversity Month. So thank you so much for coming. And our next event is actually, when is our next event? Let me see. Our next event, when is it? I'm so sorry. Oh, I did want to mention tomorrow we are having a tabling with MSA, the Muslim Student Association. They are tabling in the Muck tomorrow from 12 to 2, and I will be there for a little bit of it, talking about Ramadan and also promoting the Fastathon, which is towards the end of April, where we're going to have a huge iftar dinner. It's kind of like a Thanksgiving, but for Muslims, and it's going to be a great time. So please be on the lookout for that, and I hope you all have a great day. Bye.